Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to Young Minds Knowledge, where I give young minds knowledge. Every time I filmed a video, I've been distracted. My mind is astray. I'm at work on break, or I'm coming home from work because most of the day I'm busy. I work 12-hour shifts, so it's hard to fit it in there. But today, I'm going to fully indulge in what my channel is supposed to be. We're in a world where it's very easy to be distracted, very easy to be deceived, indoctrinated, very easy to have a love for a world that doesn't love us. I'm going to name this episode today, Breaking Out of the Mold, because that's what I want to talk about. It's hard to break out of that mold when we're in a state of comfortability. We're in a state where the growth will feel like loss, because when we break out of that mold, the people who we thought really cared about us are going to start looking at us different. You understand what I mean? What I mean by that is, take a look at the world around you. How is everything functioning? Is the normal okay? You know, we see a lot of men who look at women like objects. In a generation where it's sexually immoral, all the music is openly degrading women, the pornography making men's spirits weak to feed into the lust, where gluttony is not condemned, where greed is normalized. All the 7 deadly sins are popular and celebrated. We're breaking out of the mold, and we're going to stay consistent in what we want. And what we want is to prosper. You know, life isn't promised to be easy. And if you're suffering every single day and you don't know why, maybe because you're not consistent. Maybe because you lack decisiveness, maturity, or strength, the 4 things that God and any woman would want in us. It's hard to break out the mold. You know what they say? The path to heaven feels like hell. The path to hell feels like heaven. The flesh is very tempting. To break out of the mold, we need to remain steadfast in what we want. Our desires should not be a temporary pleasure, rather an eternal goal. I want to reach out to everyone, the atheists, the Satanists, even the Christians, the ones who don't understand, but they are seeking knowledge. You see, we all got young minds, regardless of how old you are, because knowledge is ever expansive and always expanding. So if you have that curiosity, that's the first step. If you have that acknowledgement, that can also be the first step, because it's easy to not acknowledge the cycle that we're in because we got pride. Pride has to go away in multiple different times in our life. When we get married, we need to drop the pride, because it's not about us anymore, ourselves. It's about us as a couple. When we have children, our life is not supposed to matter. And what I mean by that is not putting a neglectful barrier on yourself. But don't do anything for yourself if your seed is not taken care of. That's what I mean. We need to maneuver ourselves properly and execute ourselves efficiently. We can say anything or have any viewpoint, but if we don't assert it into our everyday lives, it's practically meaningless. That's what they say about lukewarm Christians. They just step their feet in, but they repent and do the same thing again. That's the thing about sin. When we constantly overcome it every single day, we are constantly reborn into a better version of ourselves. You see, I have trouble remaining consistent. I think that's my biggest thing. I know what I need to do. My ideology and morality is correct, but it's about asserting that. And that's not anything about, like, you know, external things. It's more internal for me. I'm not seeking internal validation in external sources, because I'm grateful for life. I have an acceptance of where I am, the gratitude that my heart is still beating. That's that mentality we need to build. So to break out of this mode, we need to concentrate on what we want. Take a second. Do you have plans and goals for your future? Now, a lot of people's goals in life is not realistic. That's a big issue I see with a lot of people. Their goals are to be this big, famous person, right? To be an idol. But all the idols do is bring people farther away from God. Look at all these artists we listen to. They're perverting music. Music is supposed to be uplifting for the soul, but instead you're fed poison. Music that makes you angry. Music that makes you depressed. You're feeding your soul this constantly and surprised at why you feel so miserable. Surprised at why you're still a part of the world when the world wants to lead you down that path. Every day our souls are at stake. So cherish that one soul that you got in this one mortal life. That's why I'm saying breaking out of the mold. Take that step away from society. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm not going out anymore. I need to stop talking to my friends. I need to this and that and that. But none of that matters in the long run. None of these people are in charge of your soul when you die. Think about it. Are they going to be right there beside you in front of God and vouching for you? Like, yo, my homie ain't mean that. Look, this is the... No. That's not how it works. Now, we can look at this from an atheist perspective. We can discuss Pascal's wager. Why would I fully put myself in this religion if maybe I could be wrong and this could be a waste of life? Okay. What sounds better to you? Being wrong your whole life? Or wishing you were right? See, it may be too late when you come to that realization when you're before God with the seeds in your chest trying to present yourself as a good person doing good works, but he did not know you, so there you will depart from him. I'm not a church-going person, I would say. I don't really go to church. I don't read the Bible as much as I should. But I want to know God for his personality and be able to insert him in moments where I feel necessary or that I deem fit. An eternal being who has existed for eons is not something that our small human minds can comprehend, which a lot of people try to do. They get way too logical. And when you get way too logical and form these axioms, it's really hard to be led astray. Because the human mind trying to comprehend something will always lead you astray and eventually shut you down. Don't try to comprehend divineness. Don't try to comprehend glory, peace, love. Love is patient, love is kind, and that's how you should move in everyday life. Jesus Christ was the perfect example of how we should live our life on this earth. Regardless if you think he didn't exist, regardless if you don't think he's the Messiah. That's how we should live. And I think the fact that we're able to abide by the laws and do these things so we don't get in legal trouble, why can we not abide by God's laws? Is it not the same thing? I would think so. It's just more rules. That's why a lot of people move away from Christianity, because they look at it as just a set of rules of what they want to do. Like I said, the flesh is very convincing. That's the reason you're not taking that step. There's always that knock. We have this thing that is in, as far as I'm concerned, everybody's brain. That when they're doing something wrong, they feel that little itch that's a conviction. That's our spirit telling us that we're not moving properly. And if you ignore that, you're ignoring the knocking from our Creator, because our Creator cares about us. We didn't just come as an explosion to exist where we are. The 7 layers of firmament is where we reside, and that's where we're going to be. We have never left this planet, and we never will. And in saying that, they're saying everything we've ever learned in science is wrong. But the proof isn't always necessarily proof. A lot of people still think we landed on the moon. But yet, doesn't the moon have no gravity and the flag is waving? How are we able to call? Can somebody be on the moon and can we call them off a little phone that existed in the 60s? Can we take a second and look at a little robot that was on Mars, just in the Grand Canyon in Colorado? You see, They think we're stupid, but we're not stupid. This is an eye-awakening generation because knowledge is accessible. We have computers in our pockets. Don't get angry because you've been lied to and that somebody's telling you something. Don't get angry at them. Have that curiosity, because that's where we expand. It's where we have that itch to learn more, because if you didn't know it, in life we need to learn something new every single day, rather than staying in our own stupidity, rather than staying in our own idiocracy. We need to do better as the human race. Not only is this human race and get mine, eye contact is dead. We don't look at people in the eyes as much. We don't say hello to everybody we see. Humans wake up and instantly go to their distraction rather than going to God. They look at their phone and scroll at it every single day, and I am a victim of that. I love looking at YouTube. I love watching movies. I love listening to music. But is it what I need to do all of my free time? No. I need to be aligning myself properly, and that's something I'm working on, and I'm not going to sit here like a hypocrite and say that's not something I battle with, because it is. It's something we all need to work on. This is a channel where I will get vulnerable. I will do everything I can to bring people up. I will never try to destroy a single soul. The sun is setting. It's coming near to the end of the day, but I still think I'm going to be able to keep talking and flowing through this, because I want to be able to get a good episode ready to go. We will all eventually die. We know this. And that's why a lot of people try to get the most that they can out of life. They make it a mission to work so hard, but they forget that none of this stuff that they have on earth will not go with them. Materialistic items are not worth a soul. And when we're able to comprehend that, we're able to respect life better, because you're not looking to get the next item. You're not looking to get up so much and seek fame and fortune, because our fame and fortune is already claimed. People who are going to heaven know that they're going to heaven. It's not a doubt. People who are on the right path, when you realize that you're changing your life, you'll realize that your own family will step away from you. Your own family will shun you for trying to give them the word that you believe. Your own family will use your pain and trauma against you like a weapon. And it's tragic, because a lot of these people are in Christian households, and that's why people turn away from Christianity, because it was used as a weapon. Religion has done nothing but separate. If you find that you're an outcast in your religion, don't seek to be in a religion. Seek to know God. Seek to get His personality through prayer. Okay? What's the best way to pray? Good question. I think the best way to pray is by first thanking God for everything that you have in your life. Thanking God for waking up this morning, for putting you in this predicament that you're in, to be able to obtain the billions of opportunities that come our way every single day. Regardless if we take advantage of them, they're still there. Thank God for His everlasting love. And that's stepping away from the pain and suffering. That's at the chance. It's always about that chance, but don't always wait on that chance, because we can sit down and get comfortable and wait for something to come. Wait for this miracle. But if we don't take action, it's just procrastination. You can easily just have all these goals prepared before you, but if you don't take that progressive step, make the progress, it's just procrastination. And that's where comparison gets toxic, because it's so easy to compare yourself to somebody who you think is doing better in life, but they're just actually taking that action Don't compare yourself. Your time will come, and if it's not your time, trust in God's divine timing. If it's for you, it'll be for you. But if it's not, don't be disappointed. Always have a plan B. And that goes to anything. If something doesn't work, what are you going to do next if all falls through? Now, after that, pray for other people. Try to be more selfless. I mean, pray for your family, pray for your friends, pray for people who are sick in the hospital, in prison, all this. Make sure that your prayer touches souls as if you would want someone to pray for you in times of adversity. Then pray for yourself. Now, when you pray for yourself, a lot of people just get to praying before they're about to die, before the worst thing of their life, before they go to that sentence hearing, before, if they need something. But that's not the way you should pray. You should pray for things you want to come. Pray for the fruition. Pray for your life to prosper more than it is right now. That's the right way to pray. And that's the right way to build that relationship with God. That's the way. And I think that's the key. I'm disappointed in myself, if I'm going to be honest with y'all, for the way that I've lived my life for the longest. I think when I started off in life, I grew up in a Christian household with my father, and my grandfather is a pastor of 2 churches. I was led astray because I don't think I was taught that personal relationship with God. Therefore, I sunk into a deep abyss, which led me into Satanistic things, which led me into self-worship, and which is easy to understand. And as we are in the age of Horus and self-worship, doeth thy will, and Thelema blatantly states, and that's just where we are as a society. Most people worship themselves rather than God. They worship the creations of God rather than God himself. People are holding on to this rock thinking that it's going to protect them, when who made that rock? It's really hard to be led astray, and it's going to continue to happen. But for the sake of our children, for the sake of our partners, and for the sake of our family, we need to step aside from that and let people know what's up. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into anything because I don't want to put myself at risk, because I already know how the world works. So I'm going to keep it very surface level with everyone, because that's just what you're going to get from me. If you want to get in depth of anything, you can reach out to me directly. Prayer is powerful. It's a form of manifestation rather than just using yourself. Now, everything is backwards in the world. I wanted to talk about that too. Single people wish that they were married, and married people wish that they were single. The rappers want to be sports people, and the sports people want to be rappers. People who have nothing in their fridge are wondering how they're going to eat, but people with a fridge full of food are just not able to decide what they want to eat. Everything is backwards. In a world that's backwards, we also need to recognize that the only religion that is mocked is Christianity. Therefore, there must be some truth. A lot of people just think it's imagery and it's just, to be edgy. The truth is, they hide the truth in plain sight. Look at the back of a dollar bill. Novus Ordo Seclorum in Latin translates to no order of the ages. Everything that's being promoted is for a reason. You're fed corruption on a spoon down into your belly, which is spreading toxins and a cancer inside of you. The food that we eat, we don't look at the back of labels, and we completely just forget that just because it's told to us doesn't always mean that it's right. We're breaking out of the mold here today. We're breaking out of the mold in future aspects in every way. How are you going to take that step into change? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to not feel so confused? Because it's easy to be confused. Shoot, we don't understand everything. We may not be school smart. I'm definitely not. I didn't go to college. I graduated high school, but I don't know the full square root of 776.34b. But what? I know that doesn't matter. I know that's what they want us to know. Like, The man who created the school system said that he just wanted workers. Our purpose here is to work. We need to eat to live, but we need to work to eat, to be able to acquire food. This seems like a matrix, doesn't it? It doesn't seem fair. It seems corrupt. I realized how dark it got. Didn't even know. But I'm still going to keep going. I get so passionate on a topic, I just forget what's all going on around me. But again, this is my first episode. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be raw. It's going to be real. I don't care for it to look good, but if my words are residing in your mind enough, I can plant that seed that one person needs to hear. May get 10 views, but if one person hears it and it helps them in the long run, it's good enough for me. I'm not here to spread corruption. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to destroy your soul or send you to hell. I used to do that. I used to make music, which I knew was sending kids to hell. Kids would tell me all the time, my music was angry. Kids would tell me, hey, your music just makes me run around my room and punch my walls. It makes me want to fight somebody and all these things, which isn't good. That's not what we should do as a society. These sources of evil are all around us. Demons reside in humans more than you know. And if you've never had a demonic encounter, or you've never had an encounter with God, your time will come. You just need to ask for it. You need to drop that resentment that a lot of people have. They have resentment because they think the problems of man have something to do with God, when they're two separate issues. This is Satan's playground. Everything that's going on is because of Satan. So, as you go through life, make sure that you carry a strong sense of discernment and in breaking out of the mold that comes with discernment. It's the Bible itself, King James, who not even 10 years later wrote a book on demonology, who was a homosexual pedophile, who had 66 people write his 66 books of the Bible. But that's the most widespread version of the Bible. Why do you think? I used to think the Ethiopian Bible was the prime Bible, but that was also written by a Roman. You see, nothing is pure. We can interpret that morality 100%. Do I think Christ did all those things? Yes, because that's historical. It's not simply in biblical text. But if we're able to read the Bible with discernment, we can get what we need out of it. It can't capture God's personality, but we can. I think a lot of people think that they're able to channel God through them. And I understand that. Psychologically, we only use 10% of our brain. So where's the rest of it? The subconscious does a lot of the thinking, and the conscience does the overthinking, but the subconscious, where all our reactions are, if we're able to control that, I think we're unstoppable. I don't think we're gods, but I think God residing in us, we're able to do his works with the Holy Spirit. But don't ever say, I'm a god. Or, even at that, I'm a goat. We know what the goat is. That's Baphomet. The duality, the balance of goodness and evil, and that's also just a deception. Where in the Bible would you find that it's okay to be evil? There's evil in the world. Doesn't mean that it's healthy or we should feed into it. Again, there's so much deception out there, and I'm just touching surface level today. On my next videos, I'm just going to get more in depth with different things. But that's what I'm talking about this week, is breaking out of the mold. In a world that doesn't care about you, why do you care so much about it? Why do you want to go out and constantly invest your money into going out for one day when that can pay for your groceries for the week? Why do you want to get that nice fancy car or that nice fancy jewelry when you're gone, you're just not going to have any land set aside for your family, any investments set aside for your family, as a real man should? You're too worried in the world rather than thinking about the future. You're thinking about that temporary satisfaction that will go away. Millionaires kill themselves all the time and they got everything in the world. Billionaires even kill themselves and they got everything in the world. What makes you think you, that's like literally backwards, Rich people invest their money, or wealthy people invest their money, and poor people spend their money like the wealthy. It's all backwards. Break out of that mold. Change your thought patterns today. And if this is something that you need to replay, do that, because that's healthy. That's going to help you understand what I'm saying even better. You know, sometimes I hear something and it makes totally no sense to me, and I'm going to listen to it again. But it's not what I think. That's what you think. What do you think your biggest problem in your life is? What do you think is something that you can do to make change that could possibly save your soul? That's something I don't think a lot of people think about. And that's something I had an epiphany of yesterday. That just because I was raised a certain way, I don't need to be a continuation of my trauma or these so-called generational curses. And not for me, but for my son, whom is now 5 months. As a man, I realize sometimes I can get far too emotional and have far too much pride in situations that doesn't require it. And it would just take a moment of silence to resonate with what was said. As men, we need to understand that women are the one with the emotions, and which is necessary, because they're the nurturing ones. They require the love, the reassurance, and the patience. But as men, we're the ones that provide the leadership and the strength. So how are we going to be emotional and let our emotions guide us rather than our logic? And I'm not talking about that logic, us thinking that we're right about everything, but the logic of understanding. That goes along with logic is understanding, because if we're not understanding, what would we understand if we're not faced with the moment where we're supposed to show our realness? And we show our realness off rip. So how are you going to appear to the masses? It's not about trying to please the world, but at being the best version of yourself. And I just wanted to take a moment and talk about that, because there's a lot of times I feel like it's hard to have empathy in a world that doesn't care about anything, and you always feel attacked. But I promise you, you are not the only one being attacked. Everybody is going through something every single day. This world is set up for us to fail. Break out of the mold. Don't blame the problems of man on God. Don't. I promise you, I used to even curse at God because I felt so attacked. I was homeless, and that's what I'm going to relate with a lot of people right now. What is your situation right now? Are you homeless? Are you going through abuse? Are you going through neglect? Are you going through illness, terminal illness, anything like that? That's where we need to understand that we need to trust in Him more, to let Him guide us. And that's where the example of Christ being on earth plays a crucial role. I believe in every one of y'all, because believing in myself has brought me a long way. It really has. Who I was, I feel like I was just someone who feeded off chaos and destruction, because my mental had no self-control. But as men, we need to have that self-control. So if you don't have self-control, I advise you strongly to work on it. I advise you strongly, even women, to take a look at yourself and what are you searching for in this world? What kind of man are you looking for? Are you looking for a man who's looking for other women, or just looking to settle down? Because I'm going to tell you right now, a man who is comfortable going out and doing things will always be comfortable going out and doing things. True love is someone who finds a home in that other person. That's what God wanted for us. We're not, as much as it's promoted for a man to have sex with a bunch of women, or a woman to get slutted out, that's not the way to live your life. That is a deception that has just been pushed recently. And if you can't see that, then you're blind. I'm not trying to attack you. I'm trying to remind you. Just because everyone's doing it doesn't mean it's okay. If Timmy, Jonathan, Samantha, and Ryan are jumping off the bridge, does that mean you gotta do it? No. It's okay to feel alone also in this process. You're gonna feel alone because nobody else is gonna be on the timing that you're on. But I promise you this. For example, you're in the locker room with all the homies. All of them are talking about women in a degrading way. Hey, she got a fat one. Like, saying these things that in your soul you feel convicted. You're not going to indulge in it, so you sit back. Next thing you know, you go in and do the same thing. It's that repetition, that consistency that makes God proud of us. And what's going to happen? I feel like you're going to attract someone to come up to you. Hey, why are you not talking with us? And that's when you plant that seed right there and let them know. Don't approach them. Because them demons, they not going to like that. Them demons that are lustful, them demons that are prideful are going to reject you. A lot of times when you first come up to someone in a moment of sin, they're going to reject you. Even if you say, yo, I feel like you're being controlled by demons right now. Them demons ain't going to like that. The thing about demons is they know scripture front and back, and they're going to use it against you at that. That's what happened with Satan and Christ. So if we're able to be patient and wait for someone to come to us, it is our moment. It's okay to go out seeking, helping someone see the light, but it's also okay to waiting for them to come to you, because that shows curiosity and their hearts and minds will be more open to it. So, like I said, this process is going to be very long, very dreadful. But if you remain optimistic in your end goal, I promise you it's going to make it so much easier. If you remain optimistic that this is literally just a temporary mortal life, how hard can it be? Love yourself. This is your one life. You can do anything you want in this life. Don't feel suicidal. Don't feel so depressed because you want to be somewhere better. You'll get there. It just takes that patience. And it takes that progress rather than that procrastination. Because you taking all this time scrolling through YouTube shorts, looking at TikToks, watching these movies, and just sitting out listening to music all day, getting high and drunk. What progress is that? That's more self-destruction than progress, because that's not feeding the soul. That's another form of temporary pleasure. It's been a good 30 minutes now. I think to break out of the mold, that's where you're deviating from the normal way of thinking. Now, what's the normal way of thinking? I'm going to work every day, a 9 to 5. Well, for me it's a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is crazy, but work every single day, build up my 401k, retire, and that's my life. What about creating a business, entrepreneurship routes, a route that isn't unrealistic, seeking the gratification of others, where you might as well just give up because you're just draining yourself. A lot of people do that. They want to be this big movie star, they want to be this big artist, this big basketball player, any of this, a famous gymnast, but they lack to realize that to reach a certain level in life that is outside of just successful, that comes with fame, you are giving up a piece of your soul, a piece of the soul that makes you an idol. And what are false idols? Defiance of God and blasphemy. So if you're willing to give up your soul for fame and fortune, go right ahead. But there's a level of self-respect that you're going to lose, because you're going to give out on what you have always said you were never going to do. You're going to lose someone you love. You are going to lose your manhood, your femininity, because you care so much about the pleasures of the world. To break out of the mold is to understand that you don't need that. To break out of the mold is to understand that these people will never truly be happy because God rejects them. God sees all the people that they're sending to hell. God sees all the people who care way more than money, also known as Satan, rather than him. But in the end, it's all a process. This is the first step. Understanding what the issue is. Do you even see an issue residing in your life? Do you even see something that could use some change? If you can, take a deeper look. I guarantee you every single person watching this video is battling not only with the sin, but with constant conviction of something that they could do better in their lives. But that's why pride sucks. We're blinded by our own understanding. We want to be right so bad. We don't want to be told something differently, and that's why a lot of old people, when you hit them with this perspective, they get angry. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. It would have to be something they look into themselves. So, regardless of how old you are, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 99, do you want to expand your knowledge? Man, get outside this video and search up all different types of things. Man, I could give some prime examples right now. Look at some translated original scrolls. Look at the Emerald Tablets. Look at the Book of Enoch. Look at something that's been untouched by man in purity. Look at something like, just get in depth with prayer and truly repent for everything you've ever done. And that's where it starts, where you don't want a direct answer to make you build that relationship, but rather you want to open your heart. And when you open your heart, I think God's going to see that, and it's going to be much easier for you in life. That's what I had to do. And it doesn't matter where anything I say comes from, because it's not coming from an evil place. Everything I say is credible, regardless of it just being a simple Google search from a book I read or from testimony, because every day is a testament of your faith and how much you're going to go through before you just snap or give up. And I don't want that for anyone. I want everyone to remind themselves that these temporary problems are not permanent. Everything is not permanent, except for up there. The firmament around us will always conceal us from knowing the truth. It will always make it hard for us, because a lot of people seeing is believing, and that's why they're so hard-headed. That's why they call it faith, and that's why they say faith is the size of a mustard seed, because that can save your soul. It's not always about your understanding and needing that direct answer. Be patient, and in action you will get gifted what you deserve. So I hope all y'all tune in to my next episode next Monday, where I'm going to have more structure, and of course it won't be dark outside. I'm going to do it during the day. But I feel like today I touched on a lot of topics. I would like to know any questions, any constructive criticism, how I can articulate myself better. I try not to be repetitive in my words. I think in my sentences, and I used to say a lot of, you know, or so, but, it's about working on my speech here. So as much as this is a journey for me, it's a journey for y'all. And that's why I'm starting off from the rugged nothing. It's all about growth. So thank you. May God bless you. May you have a beautiful night, and I pray every single one of y'all's families are blessed. That as you go through the suffering, these trials and tribulations, that you do not depart from God and depart from your path. You do not go deeper, and then you gain more than you lose. So we got to move up. When we take that one step forward, you can't take the 5 steps back. And I am definitely going to mute my phone in future episodes, because that just distracts me. There we go, I turned that off. And I apologize. That was not your phone, that was on me. But yeah, I feel like this is a beautiful spot. It's a healthy resource. Drop your phone tonight. If you have a wife, lay with her. If you have a kid, lay with your kid. Don't let these distractions take away from your life experience. You can get on that thing the next day and see whatever you want to look at. It's about the now. One of Satan's greatest deceptions is that we have more time. I'm not going to pray tonight, I'll pray tomorrow. Oh, I'm not getting right today, I'm going to do it tomorrow. What is that? Sounds like procrastination. You don't have more time. Another deception from Satan is that he doesn't exist. That's why a lot of people are comfortable in their sin and they have that love, that readiness for sin. And recognizing God, you recognize evil. A lot of people don't think he exists. That's why Satanism is the art of self-worship, not necessarily worshiping Satan, which is a whole separate thing. But that's why it's so easy for people to get comfortable, because that's what they want. But it's not always about what you want. Everything I do, I don't want to do it, but I do it because I need to. I do it because it's my calling. I do it because it's what I need to do as a man. What do you need to do? Do it. Don't say you're going to do nothing and not do it, because that makes you weak-spirited. We're not weak-spirited people. We're strong-willed. We have that drive to accomplish whatever we need to accomplish, and we will get it done. You hear me? So, men and women, cut off the unhealthy things in our life. Cut off the things that only drag us down, because it's not going to change. It's not going to all of a sudden just bring us up. It's not how things work. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So if you're doing the same thing, expecting something different, you're sleeping with that same man, expecting something different, it's not going to change. You're just ruining yourself, because sex is not only just sex, but it's the transferring of energies. You're allowing this person to be vulnerable with you, and you're an emotional creature. You're just letting them run all over you and take advantage of you. Men, you're going out there looking for a woman and not cherishing what you're being given, because you're looking for the wrong woman. You're looking for someone who is already damaged, for someone who is not looking for what you're looking for. Everything needs to coexist and align with itself, because if it doesn't align, it's just going to go down a path of destruction. Discernment. If we think with our minds and our hearts, not with this, not with that, minds and our hearts, life may be easier for you. And if I'm wrong, shoot, let me know. Try it. Y'all do that while I work on this episode coming up next week, where I'm gonna have more of a structure. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about yet, but it's gonna be way better than this one. So thank you for getting it this far. Again, any questions, leave it in the comments. Have a great night.